Hi, it's Sarah Jane here again from Natural Heating, and today I'm going to do a bit of a run through on the Heta Inspire 45. It's lunchtime, don't get a break in here, you work on the hoof, so I brought my coffee with me. So you know what my videos are like, they can't really last for ages, so you might want to make a brew if you're going to sit down and watch this one. Anyway, this is the Heta Inspire 45, which is a little Danish made stove. It's a 5 kilowatt, typically with a heat output of approximately 3 to 7 kilowatt to the room. Multi-fuel, so it can burn wood or solid fuel, although personally I think it's more suited to wood, although it is good on solid fuel. So we take a closer look and light it up, and you can see how well she runs. So one of the things that I like about these Heta stoves is they burn beautifully clean, they really do. And being Scandinavian, I don't know, there's nobody really makes stoves like the Scandinavians. They're all quite classical in their looks and rather timeless, so they fit into both newer and older type properties. Excuse the dust. That's just dust from in here, nothing wrong with that. Right, okay, this has been on the display shelf, this one. So it is multi-fuel. First of all, it is can't get room here. It's a lever type handle, which is air cooled. So it's hollow up through the middle. This part at the top tends to get reasonably hot, but not silly hot. And the bottom part stays fairly cool. We would classify it as a cool touch. Does come with a glove, as pretty much all stoves do. I don't tend to need a glove on these at all. It's a multi-fuel, so it's got a grate in the inside. We've done a smoke test on this one, which is why there's marks in the grate, just to make sure it's airtight before we light it up. A flash pan underneath in the middle, and one air control, which you can see there. So this one is your air control and it moves from left to right. And this one here goes in and out. And what it is it's the grate and the base. So you can shut it for wood and open it for solid fuel, or have it open to help increase the draw when you first light it. Now, because this has a grate in the inside compared to the Ambition that you'll have seen me do before, which is a wood burner only, the fuel bed is higher. So there's not as much height in the firebox and a little less glass view. But it's quite a short stove. It's about 550 mil approximately high. Little leg on the base. It works incredibly well in bungalows and shorter chimneys as well as longer ones, whereas the Ambition, which is one of my own personal favourites, really I'm not overly happy with it on chimneys that are under 6 metres because they're just awkward, whereas this one is really good in bungalows or in taller chimneys, so no issues with that at all. So what we'll do here is I've got some kiln dry birch, which is good for test lighting. And these are 10-inch split logs, so as you can see, there's loads of space in there. And I'm just going to lay a small fire rekindling to get her up to temperature nice and quickly. And then we'll put some proper logs in once we've got it up to temperature. So I always use the upside down lighting technique because it heats your chimney much faster. And plenty of kindling. I'm just looking to see where I've put my torch. Oh, there's my blowtorch. I always use a blowtorch only because I need one. I've only got one hand and I can't light matches with one hand and video. There we go. So we'll put that over to the side. The air vent's open, the grate is open in the base, and we will have the door slightly ajar until she heats up, just to give it a chance to get some extra air in there. I always like to leave the door slightly ajar and light up because as you start to create heat and the heat starts to rise and you have a cold flue, that typically makes condensate. So when you make condensate, then smoke sticks to your glass and your glass doesn't stay as clean for as long. So it's easier to leave the door slightly ajar and help it heat up. I'll show you what it does. So, you can see me if I put it this way around too. So basically that door's slightly ajar My kindling's starting to take quite well, and it's burning from the top down, so we'll increase with burning intensity. But if I shut that door, very quickly, you'll see this glass starting to haze. And that's hazing because it's condensate. Do you see it? It looks like a foggy glass shower. That's just because the heat is meeting the cold. We don't have to have that happen, and it'll light better and get up to temperature better if you crack that door open and give it some more heat until it heats up. So don't close the door too quick. We don't want to close the door until these bottom logs are on fire. So I've only been here 5 minutes, maybe tops. I can feel the heat already coming out from the front. I haven't left this stove. I've had no more than 5 or 6 seconds break in between each little part of the video section that I'm about to piece to get together. So you're not far off seeing this in real time when you're watching this video. I'm just going to open the door slowly. It's not cured in, but obviously there's no spill out of this. And then put a couple of small bits of timber on top. Just enough to get it started. And the good bit about the upside down fire lighting method is my fire is already established and there is still plenty of structure left in my kindling before I stifle the fire by putting some more fuel on top. So that'll catch quite quickly with the fuel that I've put in on top of that kindling, pick away and come up to temperature quite quickly. It just needs a minute or so to actually catch onto those kiln dry birch. You can see it at the edge, plenty of structure in that kindling, and it's starting to catch onto my birch. So it won't take long, and we'll let this catch up and show you a bit more. So you get one of these with it, and that's the plate that goes on the back. So when you knock out that heat shield, this plate there in the heat shield, this one goes in the back, and the plate that comes off the back fits on the top. But as you'll see, the collar fits on top of the stove rather than rebating in. So when you fit the plate that comes off the back onto the top, it sits slightly raised. It'd be nicer looking if it was flush. To be fair, we don't fit many of them in a rear outlet, and most of them when they are inside a fireplace opening, so you don't really see it. There's direct air, oh this is cold, there's direct air built into the back of this stove as well. So there's your, I can't get into it because I'm down behind the stove now. There's your direct air spigot, which is built into the back of the stove, and it sits flush with the back of the unit so it doesn't protrude. Built-in heat shield so that it can sit 6 inches off the wall, and you can just connect on 100mm ducting to that if you want direct air supply out the back. You don't have to order a separate direct air kit. So my little Inspire 45 here is heating up nice and quickly. You probably still see it's a little bit black in there at the top where it's coming up to temperature. My fire has established itself really well and really quickly. Pretty much all these modern stoves do, just give them enough air to get them started, and I can already feel there's good heat coming out the front of this. The body at the moment is still cold, it's nowhere near up to proper temperature. You wouldn't do that with this stove. The casing on this stove does get hot, really quite hot, you know, on the sides and on the top, that is, not on the back, and it does push good heat out the front. So it's not suitable for going across a corner in a living room against combustible walls because the sides do get hot. It's ideal for in a fireplace or even freestanding against a combustible wall, but it needs to maintain decent distances from furniture, whatever, on the sides. It won't be long and I won't be sitting this close in front on the floor in front of it, but for videoing purposes it's ideal. And I have had a lot of people saying they want to see me more. I don't know why, because I probably break your computer screen, but I guess it's less boring when you see who's talking to you rather than me being on the wrong side of the screen. So yeah, they burn really nice, they get up to heat really nice, and do you know what? Hardly anybody makes stoves the way that the Danish do. They're not known for being some of the best producing stoves for no good reason. They're not the cheapest either, but they do say you get what you pay for. The controls on Hetas are really good, and if you like a really nice clean glass and a clean burn and a good burn time and good fuel economy, it's not just efficiency, it's not just the carbon and the gases and how clean it burns. The actual fuel consumption on these is very low. You don't need an awful lot, you don't need a lot of fuel. You get a decent burn time, you get plenty of control. They do really kick the heat out nice. They're always a joy to use. The handles are never over tight or difficult. They're just nice. But it's like buying a car. You buy what suits your purpose. You buy what suits your needs. They'll all do 0 to 70 miles an hour, but some do it with a bit more finesse than the others. And some of your Danish stoves are higher end money, but with that you tend to get the quality and performance and luxuries that you get with a higher end car. So you've got to go with what meets your needs, your heat output, your budget, all sorts of different things. But if you can afford it, Hetas are one of our leading brands that I really like and just don't give us any issues. So I thoroughly recommend them. I've got 2 Hetas in my own house. I've put one in from my parents. I had one in my previous house. They're one of my top choices. So it's burning nice and clean. It's not yet up to temperature. That is still mine kindling that's in the bottom with those 2 small pieces of birch that I put on top. I'm just going to crack the door so you can see. It's not yet all up to temperature. What you're seeing there, the paint's starting to go off and the paint's starting to fume. But the inside of the firebox, you can see, still got some carbon on there, and that's just because she's not up to heat yet. So I'm going to let it heat up before we show you what the air control does and burn all that off back to being clean. I don't shut my air controls on a stove down until that stove has reached temperature and all that black has burnt back off to clean. Because it's still cold, it's not hot enough. It's not hot enough to control. You're going to choke it. You've just got to give things a chance to heat up. So I'm quite literally going to go and do something else for 10 minutes or so and come back to this shortly, and then we will show you what it does for air control and do some other bits with it. Okay, I haven't been timing this. I've been and done phone calls and other things that I do during the course of the day. And my initial kindling fire first small log has burnt down, and this stove is now burning nice and clean. So just to show you what she does, I have shut the bottom air control some time ago, which means that the base has been shut off for just burning wood. The internals have come back nice and clean. My handle is warm but cold enough to touch. That bit there is hot. This bit here from where that hole is down is nicely warm but not too hot. My hearth is cool, not any problems there. But what we're going to do now is just put a small piece in here for now, because that's nearly going to red ember. I'm going to put a little bit in there just so you can see the air control before I load her up with a proper load and then see how she does. So it won't take very long. Birch takes off a good pace and catches light very, very easily with kiln dry birch. So as you can see, it's easier if I stay back a bit. My phone will overheat. That birch is going to catch up to speed nice and quickly. She's catching already. We'll just give her a few seconds to catch fire before we show you what the air control does. It's not all about burning lots of fuel. You only burn the amount of fuel you need for the heat output you need out, because we're going to couple the air control with the fuel volume. What we don't ever want to do is overload. A 5 kilowatt stove should be on 1 to 1.5 kilos tops of fuel per hour, and you never want to load above those tertiary air intake holes. You block those injectors, it causes all sorts of issues. You see more fire with less fuel anyway. There's hardly anything in there, and look at all that fire view. So try and burn less fuel, not more. So it's got a nice amount of flame in there to show you what's going on. And I'm just backing off so you can see what the controls do. One air control on the stove, because it is wood only, and it's this lever that's down at the bottom. There is a Defra stop in, so it'll always stay about 25-30% open for a cleaner burn, which also allows you to run it on a 5-inch flue. Now, I'm going to try and stay back as far as I can with the phone, but turn that down. And as you can see, as that's burning the oxygen off, which takes about 5 seconds, it comes into check nice and quick. It really stabilises that burn control. There we go, you'll see the oxygen has been burning off there now, but it's burning nice and clean and low. It's starting to darken a little bit on the top, so it could do with, can you see that? Just a little bit. It could do with a little bit more air to stabilise itself, to keep all that nice and squeaky clean, but it will burn nicely at that level and still keep pretty damn clean on the inside. If you find it's too low, you just need to give it a little bit more air, obviously. So it's all about tweaking your air versus your fuel volume. So we'll bring it air back up, introduce the air back in. So you can see the difference. Picking up nice and quick. Just going to give it a few seconds to let the air adjust and feed back in through all those injectors. There we go. And once more, I'm going to turn it down. Let it burn off that oxygen. Come in to check. And it's burning nice and steady. And the dial in the bottom is already closed. Now, as you probably saw me in the last video, and some people have commented that they found it quite useful, we try and burn on a load. Average load of a 5 kilowatt burner should be 1 to 1.5 kilos of fuel an hour, and that is just a little piece I've put in there, but this is a hardwood log we've got this time. Right gnarly looking piece, and put that on the scale, and it comes out, as you will probably see, at just over 1.4 kilos. And that's a tiny little bit that I put in there already. It was just so that we've got some sort of ember bed left in there. There's not much in there at all, okay? So I'm going to put my one log in there, and as you can see, my air vents are well clear. I'm going to shut the door, let that log establish on fire, turn it down to a rolling burn, and see how long she lasts. Now, at the moment, it is now just past 4:45. So, we shall tell you later how long this log burns for. Alrighty, so we've now been burning on that solid hardwood log, that one big piece, as you can see, for a full hour, and it's lovely and clean. There's nothing on that glass, nothing at all. It's not ready to reload yet, but we don't have much in the way of hot ember in there. So there's loads of that log left. Glass is nice and clean. The log is pretty solid. There's lots of burn time left in there, but it's nowhere near another reload. It could probably go another 20 minutes, maybe more, but I'm actually going to put another piece in there. I'm going to put another bit of birch in there. It's not smoking back, it's burning nice, and the only reason I'm putting another piece of birch in there is I want to develop some more hot red ember, because I would say that this stove should easy go on a full air load on hardwood. It's going to do an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half without shutting it down. I want to develop the hot red ember, and then I'm going to do some smokeless fuel today. I don't normally burn smokeless fuel, but there was somebody via YouTube asked me to specifically do a run on smokeless fuel, and I know this is a multi-fuel stove and it burns nice and smokeless. So yeah, why not? Let's do some smokeless today. So it's just gone after 6 o'clock. So that is what? About an hour and 45 minutes that log been going. There's still a good chunk left there. I did put another piece in with it, right enough, but that is the main big bit. which is now going down chunky ember. So even if I hadn't put that other piece in, that bit on its own would still be going because the birch is long gone and that's the hardwood. So as you can see, still nice and clean. Door handle's warm, not hot. Sides are hot, hot, hot. Top's going to be hot. Back's warm, not stupid. Not as much heat in it now, but it is 6" from combustibles on the back of this unit. We will do our smokeless test tomorrow. Okay, so I said I'd do this yesterday and I never got round to it, so I ran out of time. So I am back to hot red ember and we are going to load it up with smokeless and see how it rolls. Now, these are home fire ovals, which is recognised as probably one of the best smokeless fuels on the market. They seem to certainly have a lot less sulphur content than some and burn a lot cleaner. They are Defra approved for smokeless zones and meet all the required testings. And under worse circumstances, you probably wouldn't use your hands. But I'm trying to multitask because I've also got visitors. He's disappeared through there. So I've got to kind of get on. So we're going to put some smokeless fuel in here and I will wash my hands in a minute. So I'm sure you don't do this and I'm not going to worry about it too much. But we don't need to put too much fuel volume because these stoves shouldn't really be burning more than 1.5 kilos of fuel per hour on wood, and it won't be massive on smokeless. But what we've got there is a hot red ember bed that will get this lit and pretty much a single layer of smokeless fuel. So I'll open the vent at the bottom and the inside for wood. The air's fully open and there should be enough heat in there to in those hot red embers to get that smokeless established quite quickly. The one thing that you need to watch with your smokeless fuel or coals is that it's good and dry, because moisture or wet in these not only isn't going to burn very clean but pulls out the sulphur content that creates pure acid in your flue. So wet smokeless fuel is quite literally as bad as mixing wood and smokeless together for pulling out the moisture content and producing sulphuric acid for eating through flues. So I'll come back to this shortly. So I've just cracked the door for a few seconds because there was no flame underneath to get that fuel bed lit, and it's taken off quite nicely. It won't take long at all. There's probably enough in there now that we can just shut that. There we go. I've currently left this on full air, and I will leave it on full air until that smokeless properly catches, and then we'll turn it down and see how long she runs for. Right, it is currently, it's not easy to do with one hand, it is currently nearly 12 o'clock. So we will see how this works on timing and cleanliness and come back to it later. Okay, so as you'll see, the smokeless fuel is establishing itself quite well now. So you'll see it's glowing at the bottom where it's starting to get up to temperature. So as soon as that front roll here catch a bit more, then I will leave the bottom air grill dial thing open to let the air come through the base and reduce down the top air versus the air control. So another 5 minutes I'll do this and then I'll leave it alone. All right, I'm just in a bit of a check-in. As you'll see, she's burning nicely and nice and clean. And the ovals are a good form. It's been a little while, but I've had visitors stuff in about another unit that we're going to run and test. I don't know which way to hold this camera to show you my watch. I'll flip the phone right. Problem is, my watch is on my right wrist and I'm left-handed. So I'm trying to hold the phone with the right hand and it all goes wrong. So it's now 1 o'clock, just to give you an idea how this is burning. And I've actually got an appointment and need to leave here in an hour at 2, so I don't know how much more of a burn time video you're going to get on this. But it's burning nicely the whole width across the firebox, although your outside ones will never burn as well as the ones in the middle because this is a central dial grate. I'll show you again. It's the same as comes in the bigger 55 model. So in the base and the inside, what you've got this knob that opens and shuts that grate and that fire which is currently open, and you've got this solid section which is narrower in the 45 than it is in the 55. So there's not, this is the bit where the air comes through your coals on the bottom, and this bit here will never burn as well because you're not getting the air through underneath the coals. In my opinion, really they're more of a wood burner than a multi-fuel, but it gives you the option should you ever wish to do so, and it does do it rather well and nice and clean. So with your smokeless fuel, the overall temperature on this coming out is less. It is hot, but not crazy hot. I would say it's probably maybe giving out 3 kilowatt at the minute. The air vent is fully open. The dial at the bottom is fully open. It's burning quite steady. I haven't shut it down. If you shut it down, you're going to get a tick over burn. Yeah, you can burn it on low, but why? It's just going to suit it up. It's burning nice and clean in there. The glass isn't as clean as when you burn wood, obviously, because it's smokeless fuel, which isn't the cleanest thing burning. You can't really see, but there's a bit more of a tinge. It is still clear, but I'm not a smokeless fuel fan. But there's good heat in there. The firebox is nice and clean. I reckon we'll get another hour or two out of that. I'll try and nip back before I have to go out for my appointment later. Hi, it's Sarah Jane here again, and it is now 4 PM. So I put this smokeless fuel in at 12, and it's been on full air. And it's still going. It is still going. I'll let you have a look and see, will we? So, as most of you will know, I'm not a huge fan of smokeless, and I don't have lots of it in there, but I was trying to burn it fairly on a minimum. We are on full air and a small load of fuel. You probably keep going for another couple of hours yet. I mean, the stove's hot, but not that hot. You wouldn't do that with wood. It's warm. It's not belting hot. There's plenty of hot red coal there. You can see they're pretty solid still, and they have burnt against the base. They'll burn better if we put them in a pile in the middle. But unfortunately, I have to go. So I'm not going to be able to do more of a burn for you in smokeless fuel because I've got an appointment in 15 minutes, so I'm not going to be back tonight. But that's what's left, which is most of my pile. And I'd say they're about half gone after... bit more than half gone, maybe after 4 hours of burning, but it is at a much lower temperature, and typically as you get with smokeless fuel, it's not as clean. You know, you need more heat in that or more flame in that, and what I don't want to do is put wood on top of it, because putting wood on top of smokeless fuel is really bad for producing sulfuric acid. May not burn a smokeless fuel. I would still really class this as a wood burner, although I know there's many people out there that use it for solid fuel. The clock next to it is renowned as being one of the best industry models for smokeless, and that's what I would probably show people more for smokeless, because the grate on the inside goes from side to side, whereas the grate in a wood burner, a stove mainly for wood burner, you have the grill bit, if you can see, in the middle. I'm having a bit of a poke here, but I've only got one hand. So the grill bit with where the air goes through, that you can give a bit of a shake to. There you go, you can see it now. I'm going to overheat my phone. Is to either side, but this bit is solid, so you don't get much air under either side. So your fuel is best in the middle bit. I'm a wood burner girl, not a smokeless fuel girl, but I was asked to burn some smokeless fuel, so here you are, and that's what it does. It's nice and clean, it's alright. You're never going to make me like smokeless fuel, I'm sorry. It's wood all round for me. As far as the Inspire goes, or the Heta range in general, it's a bloody good stove. Everything you'd expect of a Scandinavian unit, really good build quality, really good control. Always prioritises for burning wood. Smokeless fuel, yeah, you can do a bit, but just buy a wood burner, just burn wood. It's a renewable energy source. There's plenty of good suppliers and stockists of decent logs or kiln dry wood or compressed log briquettes. Hey, you can even dry and make your own horse poo. Anything's better than smokeless. Say no more. You'll never make me like smokeless. Anyway, hope you've liked watching the Inspire 45. Fab little stove, runs well in bungalows, easy handles. You'll love it. You can never go wrong with a Heta. Hope you enjoyed it.